Welcome to Improving English Writing video number 55, which is part 2 of a 6-part series in discussing number formatting. In this video, I'm going to discuss using numbers with dates and using numbers with time, which are rules numbers 77 and 78. If you'd like to get notifications for the series, please click subscribe. If you like the video or you think others will find it useful, please click like and check out links to videos and books in the description, like a link to the companion volume here. So let's talk about using numbers with dates. So rule 77 is use figures to express the year or the day of the month, like, the 15th, in a date. Do not abbreviate the name of the month, like April, or the day of the week, like Tuesday. See examples for using the comma, or you see the examples for comma placement. So let's discuss the various formatting of dates. So format 1 I'm going to call the month, day, year format. So what you do is you have the month, which is written out, and then you have the day, which is a number expressed in figures. You have a comma, and then you have year. So some example, or place a comma after the day of the month and after the year of mid-sentence. So if this date was mid-sentence, you put a comma after the year. So some example is, my son was born on April 5, 2003. So here you have the month, the day, which is expressed in a figure, put a comma after the day, then you put the year. Next example is, I went on June 18, 2018 to see the doctor. So here we have the month spelled out. We have the day as a figure, a comma, the year, and then another comma to see the doctor. It's very common to see no comma after the year, but that is actually incorrect per the style guides. Who knows, maybe at some point in the future, 5 or 10 years, we will not be writing this comma after the year. But currently, in 2021, we are putting the comma after the year. The next format is day of the week, month, day, and year. So you put a comma after the day of the week, that's like Tuesday. After the month after the day of the month, the 5th, and after the year if mid-sentence. So let's look at two examples. My son was born on Saturday, April 5, 2003. These are just like the above examples. In fact, I'll be using this as my base example. That way you can compare all the examples against each other. So here we've just added the day of the week, which is set off with another comma. So day of the week, month, day in figures, year in figures. These two are separated with a comma. And then I went on Monday, June 18, 2018 to see the doctor. So once again, we have the day of the week, comma, the month spelled out, the day in figures, comma, the year in figures, and comma, and then to see the doctor. Once again, you do put a comma after the year. So this is the proper format for this situation. The next format is almost what I call the outside of the United States typical formatting, or if you do things like genealogy, people also express it in this way. You have the day, month, year. It's the exact opposite of this one, where it's month, day, year. This one is day, month, year. So here, this is not how Americans typically format their dates. This is the opposite, but this is how most Europeans format their days or their dates. So in this case, you do not put any commas. There are no commas between the date elements. So the examples are, my son was born on 5 April 2003. So once again, just the month and day are switched. If you're an American, they're not if you're probably outside the United States. But since they are switched, we do not put commas between any of the elements. And then I went on 18 June 2018 to see the doctor. So once again, we have the day, month, and year separated without commas. The next format is month year. We do not put a comma between these two. Even though I do see people do it, it is actually incorrect. You do not put it when you just have month and year, you do not put a comma between them. No comma between the month and the year. So like using our, you know, my standard examples, my son was born in April 2003. Month and year, no comma between them. And the next example is I went in June 18 to see the doctor. Once again, you have month and year, no comma between them. Next format is month and day. And once again, no comma between the month and the day of the month. So if you had these examples, my son was born on April 5. You have day, month and day, no comma between them. And I went on June 18 to see the doctor. Once again, you have month and day, no comma between them. Also notice no comma after for these examples, where you saw in the previous examples where you had comma after year. In these formats, you do not put commas after the year, if mid-sentence. So, what about all figure dates? So this is where you're using numbers for all date elements. So in informal writing, notice it's informal writing, not formal writing. So in informal writing, or where space is limited, all date elements may, and I stress may, be expressed with figures in a month-day format. So this is like an American format, separated with slashes, periods, or hyphens. Slashes are typical. So you'll see some people use periods, you'll see people using any one of these. They're all correct. Slashes are just more typical. But this format may be confused with the day-month format used outside of the United States. Therefore, I strongly suggest, it says consider, I'm going to say I strongly recommend abbreviating the month instead of using figures. That's my piece of advice. So some examples. My son was born on 4/5/2003. Now, it's left to the person to decide, is that month, day, year, or day, month, year? This is the confusion. Like, is the month first or is the day first? You're not too sure, because you're not too sure. Did an American write this, or did someone in England write this? Because if they did, it's probably reversed. That's why I would avoid this situation, and I would abbreviate the month of what you mean here. But this second example of I went on 6/18/2018 to see the doctor is probably more understood, because as a day month year format, because there's no 18th month of the year, so this would have to be the day of the month. But in this example, where there are only single digits, or where it's less than 12, you're not too sure. This one, you can be pretty sure that this is month, day, year. So this would probably be okay. But once again, I strongly recommend just abbreviating the month. But here are two examples in an all-figure date format. And then something about abbreviations. In informal writing, or where space is limited, the day, the month, or the day of the week may be abbreviated. Use a 3-letter abbreviation without a period. So basically, once again, I said you're not supposed to abbreviate, but you may abbreviate in informal writing, or we have space limited. It's like a table, a graph, a chart, things like that. So it's basically the first 3 letters of the month or day. So here you have, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Notice it's the first 3 letters of the month or the day of the week. So here are the day of weeks, and the next slide is just the months of the year: January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. You probably see a lot of people abbreviate September with a T here, but you don't need to, because if someone wrote just SEP, you're going to figure it out. So it's probably the one difference you may see actually people use, but it's actually the correct way to write it is if you abbreviate it as SEP. Oh, yeah. So next rule. So that was about abbreviations. So the next rule is about using using numbers with time. So you use figures to express time before AM or PM, and place a colon between the hour and the minutes. Use noon and midnight to avoid confusion with 12 a.m. or 12 p.m. This is just my recommendation, or maybe I also saw it in, might be the Chicago Manual style, I forget, but one of the references actually recommends using noon and midnight to avoid confusion, and I agree. That's what I would do instead of writing 12 a.m. or 12 p.m. because people may not be too sure which one it is. So, like, I leave for work at 7:30 a.m. I arrive home at 5:15 p.m. So once again, we're using figures. We're using a colon to separate the hours and the minutes when we have AM or PM. Debbie gets up at 4:45 a.m. Once again, it's just using figures with AM or PM. And Robert normally takes lunch at noon, so instead of writing 12 p.m. For lunchtime or noon, just use noon. That way there's no confusion. In word style, times on the hour, half hour, or quarter hour are spelled out unless emphasis is needed. So even though we do say you usually use figures to express time, but in word style, times on the hour, half hour, quarter hour, you can spell that unless you need emphasis. So like, I leave for work at 7:30 instead of writing I leave for work at 7:30 this way. Of course, you're not using AM here. Cecilia arrived for dinner at 5:15. I mean, this is 5:15, so you could just write it this way. And what about AM or PM? The great debate. What is it? How's it written? Is it small? Is it with or without periods? Is it uppercase, lowercase? What is it? Don't be confused by this title here. I just capitalized it because it was a title. Basically, use lowercase with periods. AM, A period, M period, or P period, M period. So that's what I recommend. Lowercase with periods. The AP and the MLA use lowercase with periods. They basically state this. Do this. The Chicago Manual Style and the Greg's Reference Manual recommend lowercase with periods. So they recommend this format. Both allow small capital letters. I don't know if most, maybe word processors, most, I guess computers can do small caps, but most people are just going to use capital letters. And the Greg's Reference Manual uses it with the periods. So it's capital letters with the periods. And the Chicago Manual Style is with or without the periods. So either way is correct. And the Merriam-Webster's Dictionary lists lowercase with periods or capital letters without periods. So it basically lists this. So that's why I say I recommend just the lowercase with periods, because that's what two of them specify. That's what definitely the most popular Chicago Manual Style recommends, and the Greg's Reference Manual recommends, but it does allow capitals. So that's what I'm saying. This format here is probably the most acceptable format, and that's what I would use. But if you want to follow a specific manual, here are the various rules, or how it's currently listed in the Merriam-Webster's Dictionary. How about a time on the hour? Well, when you have a time on the hour, like 7 a.m., word style includes the zeros in the AM or PM, so it writes it this way. However, figure style does not include the zeros. It just writes it this way: unless emphasis is needed or a consistent format is required, like in a list, table, or sentence. So its default is this, without the zeros, unless you need emphasis or you need a consistent format. What about o'clock? Well, word style spells out the number before o'clock, and figure style uses a figure before o'clock. So it's the complete opposite. So if you had the word style would write the meeting starts at 5 o'clock, but figure style would write it the meeting starts at 5 o'clock. So they have a difference of opinion here, and they're slightly different here for times on the hour. So take note of that. What about 24-hour time? Well, 24-hour time is use a 4-digit number with or without a colon between the hour and minutes. So 4-digit with or without. So you could have 1315 or 1315. It's a 4-digit number with or without the colon. Use a consistent format in the document. And use a colon for an unclear context, which means if you're probably unclear, then you're probably going to end up using a colon between the two. I think the colon looks, a little bit universally understood to be a time measurement for most people who do not use the 24-hour time period or measurement. And to convert an AM time to a 24-hour time, use the AM time, except with 12, use 00. And to convert a PM time to 24-hour time, add 12 to the time, add 12 to the PM time, except with 12, use 12. So just some examples is 12:09 a.m. and 24-hour time is 0009 or 00:909. And 8:15 a.m. and 24-hour time is 0815 or 08:15. And 11:37 a.m. and 24-hour time is 11:37 or 11:37. And 12:09 p.m. and 24-hour time is 12:09 or 12:09. And 8:15 p.m. and 24-hour time is 20:15 or 20:15. Well, that does it for this video. If you want to get notifications for this series, please click subscribe. If you like the video, please hit like. And check out links to books and videos in the description. Thank you.